Welcome to Just In Case. Case UK's podcast, where we choose to help build lives, not patients. Welcome to Case UK's podcast, Just In Case. I am Chrissie Evans, the host for today. We hope that you enjoyed the last session with Sandy Cooper, where we were discussing self-care and that you got some really good tips from that session. Today, we're joined by Andrew Jenkins to discuss coping with PTSD, amongst some other topics as well. So thank you, Andrew, for joining us in this really wonderful Friday afternoon in the Merthyr office. It's always a great place to come to.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks.
You're most welcome. So before we begin, I just want to say that I know that PTSD, it can be quite an emotive topic for people. And so I want everybody that's listening to think about any triggers that might come up for them. It is a subject that is important that you keep yourself safe. So I just want you to make sure that if anything comes up for you, if there's some further support that you feel you need from what we've discussed today, check out the website, go to www.case-uk.co.uk and have a look at the different support services. It is so important to look after yourself, and we fully understand if you're not staying with us for the rest of this session because it's brought up things that have triggered for you, then that's okay. Join us for the next one, come back to it. So, PTSD, and I just want to give a little bit of information before we start, Andrew, if that's okay, about what PTSD is. So PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a mental health condition that can be the result of terrifying or traumatic experiences. It can be something that happens to us personally, it can be something that we've witnessed. There are a number of things that can cause us to have PTSD. The symptoms of PTSD can include nightmares, flashbacks, anxiety, intrusive thoughts. It can be really difficult to live with PTSD. And sometimes it can lead to us avoiding situations. It might be people, it might be doing things that actually we really want to do but we struggle with because of how we're feeling. It can result in a number of different things that we do that maybe we're not quite happy with, or we're too scared to do something, or we're so frightened, or the PTSD has caused flashbacks. There are a number of different things that can be going on for us. So we often associate PTSD with soldiers. That's one of the biggest things that I hear. In my life, working in mental health, people constantly say, oh, well, PTSD is something that soldiers experience. But actually, it can happen to anyone, absolutely anyone. If we experience something frightening or traumatic, it can cause us to experience PTSD as a result of it. If you do want some further information about PTSD, because there's a couple of different types of PTSD as well, there can be complex PTSD, then check out the NHS website. We will put that link in the notes. It's quite a long link, but it's got some really excellent information. That's enough now for me talking. I want to move on to ask Andrew some questions. Again, thank you so much for being with us today. And one of the first questions that I have for you, if it's okay, and I know you've probably explained this a billion times, and especially with how busy you've been recently, but tell us about yourself and a bit about your story for the listeners who might not have heard it yet.
Great, thank you. I will. Just going back quickly to trauma, I just wanted to make a point to that, because obviously I've looked at a lot of trauma, read about a lot about it in the last couple of months or year or two, and I say a trauma for one person might be a completely different trauma for somebody else, so never judge anybody's trauma, and don't ever assume like a broken finger might be traumatic for somebody, whereas somebody else might be normal. Do you know what I mean? So a trauma for some persons is a completely different trauma for somebody else. There's so many different, like I say, so many different types of trauma. You could never judge them, or say, hey, well, that's nothing. It might be nothing to you, but it could be something massive for that person. Like, so trauma is a massive subject, huge subject. So it's really important you're talking about. It's really good. Yeah, so myself, born 1978. I know I don't look it. I look a lot younger, I know, but I've had a hard paper around in the valleys. So I born into a traditional family, great upbringing. My mother and father married 60 years. My dad worked in a factory. My mother worked in National Westminster Bank. When my oldest brother was born then, my mother gave up work then to be what was classed as an old-fashioned housewife then. So she would look after all the boys, go home from school, do the cooking, washing, cleaning. My dad went out to work. Every Friday he'd come home from work from the factory, give my mother his pay packet, and she'd keep it and give him a couple of quid to go to a club on a Sunday night. They'd never driven a car, my parents, never been in an aeroplane. They have the same food every night. They're lovely, lovely people, but they're just so old-fashioned and out of touch. Like, I've grown up all my life, like, loving upbringing, never went without, never was spoilt or anything, didn't have much money, but we never went without either. Clean, tidy, well-fed, as you can tell. Traditional, old-fashioned, like, valley family, I suppose. So I got 3 brothers as well, 2 older, 1 younger brother. I'm the smallest. One brother's 6'5", one's 6'2", or 6'3", one's 6'1", 6'2", and I'm scraping 6 foot, I think. So, as you can imagine, the testosterone and competitiveness in my house was ridiculous. So, when we were born, we all had rugby balls in our hand practically when we were born. From 5 years of age, I played rugby, and my dream, like many people in Wales, was to represent my country and put on the red jersey in the National Stadium. And that was my dream all my life. And I thought, I had the identity of a rugby boy. So I walk in a club, walk in a pub, I was a big, strong rugby boy. And my 3 brothers, all the same, we all played at a good standard as well. So yeah, it's had a great upbringing and good morals. My mother and father hard working. They brought us up correctly, polite, respectful towards people. I feel like I can relate to thousands of people in this country, probably, especially in Wales. It's that type of family, really. So that's me, in a nutshell.
You've been quite vocal about wanting others to talk openly about mental health. And I know we've briefly touched upon PTSD. We will come back onto that subject. How did you find first opening up about your mental health? Tell me a little bit about the background of you opening up about your mental health. Yeah. What's led to it? I mean, I know that's a really broad question.
No, it's a good question. My family, like I've mentioned, we're a great family. We don't talk about feelings and emotions or anything because we're like old-fashioned men. Men don't have feelings. You're a strong man. You've got to protect the family. Hard, strong, big guys. And again, relatable to most people. A lot of people in this from that generation, I think, where you can't show feelings or emotions and that. Even to this day, I've never really seen my family show any emotion towards each other. I know we all love each other. We care about each other. If I picked up the phone, my brother, they'd be there tomorrow now straight away. But I've never seen them say it or heard it to each other or anything like that. So I grew up that sort of persona, I suppose, being this big, strong, tough guy. And then, obviously, I was in a bad road traffic accident then when I was 21 in August 1999. And the physical injury I had were horrendous. I was in a coma for a number of weeks, in intensive care. When they first turned up on the scene, they said I was dead. So they said I was dead on the side of the road. So then when I'm not a ghost, so I didn't die. But when I was in a coma then for 4 weeks, and my family were told on numerous occasions that I had severe brain damage. But they said they can't tell how bad it is until I wake up. There's a chance I probably wouldn't wake up. But if I did wake up, be prepared for the worst because they can see from my shadows on my scans that I had brain damage. But they said if he wakes up, there's a good chance he's not going to recognise anyone, walk, talk, use his arms and legs ever again. So I woke out of my coma and I remember who everybody was. But they told me I'd never walk ever again. So I said to the doctor, I guarantee I'll walk out of the hospital. And he said, you won't ever walk again. I said, I will. And he said, you won't. I said, I will. And I learned to walk. It took me about 2 weeks to learn to walk again. So, so the physical injury I had were horrendous, really bad. But my biggest struggle was my mental health. Unbeknown to me, I suppose, because we just man up and get on with it. So I was offered counselling after my accident. But I was a 21-year-old, cocky, arrogant, ignorant, macho, invincible kid, I suppose. So I didn't want to see a counsellor because I thought I'd see somebody in a white coat. They would judge me, psychoanalyse me, get inside my head and judge me, I suppose. I didn't want to see that. I couldn't talk to my family. We talk about sport, rugby, boxing, anything like that, but we don't talk about feelings or emotions, so I couldn't talk to them because A, you're putting them through enough as it is, they're going through enough trauma, but secondly, we just don't talk about stuff. So I didn't talk about it for 20 odd years. I only spoke to my family about the accident for the first time last year, and it happened 24 years ago. So wow. Yeah, so there's two things that happened in my life, I suppose, that triggered me to want to do it. But I sat my mother and father down back last year because I wanted to start talking about mental health and helping inspire people. I put a video on social media on Facebook last year, my first video, and it had 26,000 views, and I had hundreds of people messaging me saying, I can't believe a big strong guy like you, we always see your life and soul of the party, you're so happy and all that. I said, well, what do you expect? You don't see the days I'm lying in my bed crying, couldn't get out of bed in the morning, wish I won you, wish I died in my accident, and it was a battle to get out of bed in the morning, draw myself. But I said, I'm not going to walk around crying or walk around like, thunder and lightning bolts don't follow me around, and mental health is not like that. I say, you don't think when people say mental health, you think you're assuming you're seeing somebody in a corner rocking back and forth, muttering to themselves. I said, it doesn't work like that. I'm still functional. I went to work every day. I'm a man, I'm a strong guy, but behind closed doors, I didn't see that side of things. So I had people messaging me, older blokes are older than me, I looked up to as a kid, messaging me saying your videos that are so relatable. I've had that problem for 20 odd years, 30 years. I've had this rugby boy mentality, doorman, and I can't talk to anybody. It's not, you're a strong guy, you can't speak to anybody. So basically that was I wanted to start talking about. And the two, I touched on it just now, were the two sort of catalysts, I suppose. One was my previous partner, because she'd had trauma in her life as well when she was younger. But she was walking around happy. She was so bubbly and bright. She's very tactile with her children. She hugs people, loves people. And she's the other way, we're yin and yang. So she was so happy. And look at her, I was envious. I want to be like her. Why am I walking around with a chip on my shoulder, resentful, angry? Because my dream was to be rugby for Wales, and I got taken off me at 21. I lost my identity as a rugby boy. So I thought, well, I can't rugby anymore. So my dream got taken off me, and I was so bitter, and I was grieving. I was for many, many years. I didn't realise, but like meeting her, I wanted to be like her, because she didn't let that trauma define her. She could have let that trauma define her. She got attacked when she was younger. She could have been resentful, hated men, and all this sort of thing, but she didn't. She was so happy and positive. So that was one thing. I met her. I want to be like her. But secondly, I met the man last year who saved my life, and Hamish Ling. Dr. Ling, Professor Ling actually, and he's in Swansea University now, director there. But I tracked him down on Google, which is a bit creepy. But I did track him down, and I found him, and I turned up. I did tell him I was coming, just turned up at his office. So I sent him a nice long email saying, you probably don't remember me, you've operated on thousands of people, blah, blah. He said, of course I remember you. He said, your injuries will always remember, they were horrendous. So I went to meet him, and it was like a really emotional day, because I meet the man who saved my life, really. So it's not every day you can do that. So I walked in, and he said, crazy. He said, wow, it's like how big and strong you are. He said, it's incredible. You should be dead. He said, we thought you were going to die on so many occasions, he said. You've got to inspire people. And so he said, it made me think, yeah, why am I looking back all the time what I've lost? And, I might never have played for Wales. It's all ifs and buts, is it? But looking back on, I got my scars, I hated my scars. I'm given a second chance in life. I've got to be happy and positive. So meeting them two people made me realise, instead of looking back all the time, it's something called post-traumatic growth. So I'm looking forward now, trying to help other people. So it's like Paralympians, for example, when they lose a leg in Afghanistan, don't get me wrong, it's awful, and they wish it never happened to them. But as a result of that now, they're winning gold medals for Great Britain representing their country. If it hadn't happened, they might not have been good enough to represent the able-bodied Olympics. But now, because it's happened, now they're breaking world records in the Paralympics, winning gold medals. So it's called post-traumatic growing from the back of a trauma. So I'm the same now. So I started looking forward. So for 20-odd years, I'm looking back. But now, the last 2 or 3 years, I've started looking forward of all the people I can help and inspire people like me. I didn't go to university, I'm not a doctor, a qualified psychologist or counsellor. I'm just normal, down-to-earth guy who's relatable to lots of people. I get messages now of people all the time, every day, saying I'm helping them through their trauma. I had one the other day saying what helps him through his cancer treatment and his chemotherapy is watching me and my inspirational videos, my motivation, my resilience, my determination, and that's what keeps him going. I've got a purpose in life again now, and I think there's a reason I was kept alive, and it wasn't just to waste my life feeling sorry for myself and looking back. It was to help inspire people and change people's lives. I want to change the world at the end of the day, and I will change a lot of people. And even if I die tomorrow, I can look back on my lie on my deathbed and think, yeah, I made a difference to the planet, I made a difference to the world and hundreds of people, so I can sleep or whatever content.
Absolutely, and I think you can safely say that you've already influenced a lot of people's lives already, which is absolutely amazing. And I think the journey that you've been through and the things that you overcome in life is because of some of those things that have happened.
Yeah.
We can always look back, can't we, and think about what we wish could have happened, but ultimately we are where we are, and it's important for us to be in the moment, isn't it? But you've made some really amazing points.
It's like when I went, I refused counselling straight away, and when I see people now say about counselling, people look at me and think of something like, "Well, a big, strong, hard guy like you." I said, "Yeah, it doesn't make me weak." I said, "You have a PT for your you have a PT for your physical health. You pay them £100 now for your physical gym. So why not have something for your mental health?" I said, mental health and physical health go hand in hand. I said, they work together. There's massive evidence over the last couple of years. Obviously, what you put in your body, your gut microbiome and friendly bacteria has a direct impact on your moods, and it's right. And I think they all go hand in hand, physical and mental health. So you're happy to pay somebody all the time a weekly session for the PT, but you don't look after your mental health. The only time you look after your mental health is when something's gone wrong, and it's something, rather than trying to keep on top of it all the time and doing little things you can do to help improve your mental health and your well-being all the time, reading, walking, whatever that is, spending time with your kids, whatever that is to help you, people don't need to do something about it when it's not too late, when it's like gone wrong, their mental health's bad. So so it's really important, I think, and it's something really close to my heart, and I just want to help continue to inspire people, really.
Absolutely, and I completely agree. I think that sometimes we don't talk enough about mental health, so people don't think about it as being something that they actually need to do something about until it becomes problematic. It's like blood pressure, isn't it? If I had a problem with my blood pressure and I'm going to do something about it, but I don't go around thinking about my blood pressure all the time. No,
exactly. So I think prevention's better than cure, the old saying is. The thing is, prevention's better than cure. Like, and I'm not saying, walk around humming all the time or meditating all the time. Or hugging people, hugging trees. I'm not saying that. I mean, everybody's different today. Like, mine is the gym. I like going to the gym. I like going walking out in nature. Get out in nature, get some fresh air. You're stuck at these computers all the day, every day, for 8-9 hours a day. Sometimes I've sat at my desk, I look up, and it's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I only left my desk all day. I look at my step count, it's like 2,000 steps, thinking, wow, he's looking at this computer all day, staring at the screen all day. You lose yourself in work, and you forget to take a break, just get out for a walk, 20-minute walk. Just get out, fresh air, just to break up your day or something, just to help your mental health. I said, there's only so much your body can take. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Your body is capable of amazing things. Your mind, you got to convince it most of the time. I think it's just, surprising. There's only so much you can take before you break and snap, I think.
Absolutely, and I think the mind can be so conditioned.
Yeah.
And it's conditioned to the way that we think about things, the roles that we play, the stereotypes that we have. The mind is an amazing thing, but it can very much be conditioned.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes just being able to get up and just shake it off, it makes such a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you've overcome a lot, and as I said before, there's been lots of things that have happened. You've overcome a lot in life. How do you approach problems that life throws at you? What do you do?
What do I do now? Mental health is on a sliding scale. I saw somebody the other day, like a big director of a company, and he had 80 employees looking after turning millions of pounds. And we got onto the subject, and he said, I don't believe in mental health. I said, explain that to me, please? I said, what do you mean you don't believe in mental health? What a stupid comment that is. I know you're a successful businessman. What chance have your staff got if the boss doesn't believe in mental health? I said, what do you mean you don't believe in mental health? That's nonsense. He said, have you got a brain? He said, of course I've got a brain. I said, well, you got mental health then? I said, every single person who's got a brain has got mental health. Some got good mental health, some got bad mental health. Some people are better at managing their mental health. We've all got it, and it's on a sliding scale. You know, throughout life, life's not easy. There's ups and downs, traumas, loss of loved ones. So your mental health changes on a sliding scale, and it's how you manage that. You know, so to say you've got mental health. So yeah, I get challenges, and don't get me wrong. I'm doing these videos now, and everybody's saying, "Oh, you're a happy person, you're always positive." Even people in the well-being space, they haven't always got their shit together. We have stuff going on. I was separated from my partner a few months back. To me, not that long ago, 6 weeks ago. I thought I was going to be with the rest of my life. So to me, that was a tough thing to go. But I had to try and put a mask on every day, and get on with this. What I'm doing now, all this thing I'm doing now. But I can't put that on my social media, and I can't myself crying on social media. But I got like coping mechanisms I do. And I think it's about when things go wrong. It's about remembering who you are. You're a good person. Take a deep breath. Don't beat yourself up. That's the one thing I used to beat myself up all the time. Say horrible things to myself. Things that I'd never say to my friend, my family, my brother. But I say to myself on a daily basis. So stop being hard on yourself. Everybody's so hard on themselves these days. Everybody wants the best and pushing themselves, achieving this, get a big job, a big house, big car. Just take a step back for 1 minute and just think, yeah, I'm doing well in life. I'm doing all right in life. I'm trying my best. You're doing the best you can with the tools you've got available to you. So just don't beat yourself up. And I used to be so hard on myself. People say to me, I've never met anyone as hard. You're always pushing yourself. Nothing's ever enough for you. You always want to be the best in the gym, the best boyfriend, the best this, the best. When are you going to stop? Like I said, like you said, you've achieved so much in life. You've achieved so much already. So when things come up, it's like sitting back and thinking, whatever, I don't know, whatever it is, the trauma, whatever the tough times are, I suppose just sitting back and seeing what caused that and seeing, I try and sit back and reflect on when I don't achieve something or something goes wrong, just take a step back and think, why? Because 99% of the time when you don't get something or don't achieve something, there's a reason behind it. And it's about, we need to get better at this society, I think, at teaching people losing's part of life and things. And what we're doing at the moment, these children, when they go to these tournaments in football, rugby, everybody wins. I think that's totally wrong. You can't teach. It's nice. No one wants to see their kid, example, crying or upset. But at the end of the day, as parents, as teachers, as coaches, you've got to get better at the kids and telling them, unfortunately, losing is part of life. It's what you do off that loss and how you come back from a loss. That's what matters. People say, what do you do to get resilient? How are you so strong? I say, well, because I've lost lots of things in my life. But I've learned not to do it now, how to come back from it. And it's sitting back and have to deal with your failure, really. And that's so, I suppose taking your time, also surrounding yourself with good people. That helps. I don't know, everybody's got, it's fortunate enough to have good family around them or good friends. I got thousands of friends. I know lots of friends. I worked on the doors, played rugby, but I could count on one hand probably my friends I could go to and confide and talk to about everything, a support network who don't judge me, they listen to me. And most of the time when somebody's struggling, they don't want an opinion or an answer. They just want something to listen to and just not judge them. Just sit there and be quiet and just talk to them. That's all I wanted when I was struggling with mental health. But what normally happens, you end up in an argument with the people then, because you're having a bad day, and somebody says to you, oh, what's wrong? Oh, nothing, I'm fine, which is the normal answer you get off somebody struggling with mental health. And they say, no, you're not, but tell me. I say, I'm fine. They go on and on and on to you then. Come on, tell me what's wrong. I know something wrong with you, you're different. I'm fine. And I end up in an argument with this person then, thinking, stop going on to me, I'm fine. Like I say, and I know you're only trying to help people. I know people are only trying to help, but I've done it to myself, my ex-girlfriends, when they're banging around the kitchen, stamping around the house. What's wrong? Nothing. Yeah, they just tell me. But I say, what I say to people is, keep it simple. Don't overthink it. If you know somebody's struggling, going in work, for example, or they've gone through bereavement, separation, just say to them, is everything okay? And when you get the answer back, yeah, it's fine, which is the normal, just say to them, when you're ready to talk, just drop me a message, pick up the phone, go for a pint, go for a coffee, and leave it. Just forget about it and just drop it. And then when they are ready to talk, that could be 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, they'll come to you eventually then. So it's having a really good support network around you, people you can trust and talk to when things do go wrong. Because things, unfortunately, in life is not easy. It is tough sometimes. You do get ups and downs, and it's how you come back from it, really. And say, don't beat yourself up, have a good support network and talk, communicate. Absolutely.
And we never really fail. We always like to talk about it as first attempts in learning.
Okay.
So,
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I think that...
I'll pinch that one.
You're more than welcome to.
Don't copyright it, or patent it.
I haven't.
Okay, you'll get fined now today. That's good, I like that. First attempt in learning.
First attempt in learning. And I think it's really difficult, isn't it? Because we put so much pressure on ourselves. And we have, when it comes to talking to other people as well, one of the things I always say to others, ask. You can ask a second time, because you'll always get that initial... Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. It's the stock answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fine, great, I'm okay. But if you ask a second time and go, look, genuinely now, if you're not okay, you can talk to me, come to me when you're ready. Yeah. And that's all it needs. Yeah. You don't need to constantly ask people.
Because there's nothing worse. When you're struggling with mental health, you don't want to be a burden on people, and sometimes you just want to be on your own. You go in this little dark place. You just want to be on your own. You think the whole world's against you. You can't see light at the end of the tunnel. So when somebody nagging you and pressurising you, it's just going to add to your stress and worry you. So it doesn't do any good. And I'm genuinely having a go at people who are trying to help, because I know it's difficult. You don't want to trigger something off in someone, or you're scared. You'd rather not have the conversation. But what I say to people is, I'd rather have an awkward conversation with you for 10, 20 minutes, half an hour, or you crying on me, I don't care, rather than coming to your bedside in 6 months' time, or even worse, coming to your funeral in 6 months' time, rather than an awkward conversation with you now and talk about it, rather than something worse happening in 6 months' time. People say when somebody takes their own life, or tries to take their own life, people always say in the little circle, oh, why didn't they come and talk to me? Why? I said, well, did you make yourself available? Did they try and talk to you? But then you interrogated them, you nagged them, and you went on to, and I'm not going to go with you, I said, because it's difficult, they don't care. I said, did they try and talk to you? Perhaps they come to you, make yourself available to these people? I said, just keep it simple. I said, if you know somebody's struggling, I said, especially in work, for example, in a work environment, look for little change in people's behaviours. If Dave comes in at 9 o'clock every day, he's always on time, and all of a sudden he starts coming at 10 past 9, 9:15, a little change in behaviour, just say to them, well, Susan comes in, she has lunch every day at 1 o'clock, she has this, all of a sudden, she stops having lunch, or she's not bringing her lunch, and she's done this thing for 6 months, 6 years. All of a sudden, just be more aware of your colleagues, I suppose, of family and colleagues. And again, work, for example, you spend a lot of your time in work. Just look for little change in people's behaviour, and just say to them, "Hi, mate, I've noticed X, Y, Z. I noticed you come in late. Is everything okay?" And they say, "Yeah, fine. Just if you ever want to chat, just give me a shout, or we'll go for a chat, go for a coffee, go for a walk." And that's so powerful. If you're struggling, if you knew somebody was on the end of the phone or there when you needed them, that's all I want. That's all. It's so powerful. And when you are ready to feel comfortable. I say it's not a competition. People's mental health is not a competition. Oh, they'll talk to so-and-so, they didn't talk to me. But some people feel more comfortable talking to other people, I said. It's somebody's health and life. It's not a game or a competition, I said. Just make yourself available to them and don't overthink it. Just ask a simple question, that's all. And it's so important, I think. You've got to keep on, Communication is what I struggled with for 20 odd years, because I couldn't talk to my family about it for years. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy, because it's not. But I say when you pluck up the courage to have it, it takes a huge weight off your shoulders. When you actually have the conversation, it's not that bad. You build it up in your head. The longer it goes on for, the worse it gets. But when you actually pluck up the courage to do it, it wasn't that bad. It was okay. So I just talk to people. Just talk to someone. It doesn't make you weak or less of a person by talking. It just makes you stronger, I think, really.
I agree with you. I think it's really powerful as well, isn't it? When we have conversations with people, to be able to be acknowledged, to be able to be heard. And I think I completely agree with you. It's simple.
Yeah.
Because people, that's what they want. They want to know that they've got somewhere to go to have somebody that will listen. And we don't always get that in life, do we? We don't always get people that will listen. They'll listen to respond rather than listening to hear.
Exactly. I'm not saying, I know how you feel. You don't. How do you know how I feel? Every single person's different. A bereavement when you might be different to me. I said, I'm weird, I think. I'm comfortable with death. I know that sounds really weird, but I said to somebody, a psychologist ages ago, something wrong with me. I said, if somebody said their granny has died, right? I was just sad, but I think it's part of life, in 80 odd years of age. But if I see a film or watch something on telly, I get upset with that. When somebody died, I don't care. I'm fine with this. I said to myself, is that my normal or what? I've been so close to death myself. I don't know if it's uncomfortable with it now. I think it wasn't that bad. It's quite peaceful, actually. Or whether, and they said, no, you've got a good grip on it. It's really good. You've got a really good perception of it. And it's part of life, do you mean? And you've got a good handle on it. They said, no, it's good what you're thinking. They said, I used to come across as not heartless, but somebody said, oh, my so-and-so's died, 95, thinking, part of life. That's a natural progression. Obviously, if somebody dies, a kid dies, and before the parent, well, that's different. That's a bit different, I suppose.
It's a bit more complicated.
Yeah, but I have a good handle on it. Death and tax. You can't get away from, I suppose. So nobody wants to lose a loved one, but I think you just got to celebrate the time that they got with that person, and when they do pass on, try and celebrate their life and be glad you were part of their life for the 20, 30, 60 years they were in it, I suppose, and don't see it as a negative.
One of the biggest things that I find, and in relation to grief, you actually mentioned about grief early on in our talk, but grief is actually triggered for many different things, not just bereavement. So we lose people, we lose people in life, it's really sad, we know that, we process it, we're able to process through that grief, but actually there are things that happen to us that cause those changes, and they're even harder for us to
You read my mind, I think. You're reading my mind. After 15 years, I don't know what date it was exactly, it's crazy, but I went for counselling, and the woman I saw was amazing. She had like tattoos. I know that makes a difference, but she wasn't what I was expecting at all. I was expecting some well-dressed doctor person, but she was lovely, and we clicked really well. After the first session with me, she said, I know what's wrong with you. I saw PTSD. She goes, no, you're grieving. I said, I didn't know much about it then. I said, what's grieving? I said, when you die. And she goes, all I've heard of you today is, I used to play rugby, I used to look like this, I used to do this, I used to do that. You're grieving for the old Andrew, she said. You're grieving for your old life, she said. This is you now. You've got to accept where you are now, move on. That's going to eat you up for the rest of your life, she said. You can't change it. You've got to accept it. So, and she said, your mother's grieving for you as well, because when I was having a down day, a quiet moment, my mother would say to me, you never used to be like this before your accident. So they were grieving for the old Andrew as well. So everybody's grieving. So I only knew years after my accident, I was grieving. And I think, obviously, looking into it now, there's 7 stages of grief. I think I was stuck between number 2 and 6 probably for like 20 years. I was in like angry, bargaining, resentful, bitter, moody, depressed. I was in a circle for years and years and years because I couldn't accept what had happened. I couldn't accept my scars. But now, the last couple of years, I'm finally coming to acceptance, I think, now, the last stage of it. I don't think I'm fully there now, to be perfectly honest, but I'm much better now than I was last week, 2 days ago, 6 months. I'm a much better person. I'm growing all the time and getting better all the time. But I was grieving for many years, and I looked into it quite a lot. And, people, when they have children, grieve sometimes. It might sound like crazy because they're having kids, but they lose it. They can't go out as much. They haven't got as much money. They're grieving their whole life. So people grieve at all stages, not just physically dying. They grieve lots of a job. I lost my identity as a rugby boy. I was a rugby boy from 5 years of age to 21. My dream was to play for Wales. And the new way I thought of making my dad proud was playing rugby. So I couldn't play rugby anymore. I thought my dad didn't love me anymore. I thought my dad couldn't make me proud anymore. So he never said anything bad to me, but he never said anything good to me either. So there was never any praise or anything. He never said, I was proud of you no matter what, I'm proud of you. So I couldn't do that anymore. So my brothers were still playing rugby at the same time as well. They were playing rugby. So they go to my mother and father's on a Sunday, for example, and we used to go for dinner there. And my brothers are talking about the game of rugby they played the day before. And my dad's sitting there smiling, listening to them, and they say, I played a rugby match, yes, I was going to try, I did this, and I'm sat there thinking, what can I talk about? I got nothing to talk about. So I withdrew. I wasn't one of them anymore. My brothers are better than me, my dad wasn't proud of me anymore. I started withdrawing from my family. So I went quiet, I didn't really talk, because I had nothing to contribute to the conversation, I thought. My mother said, when I spoke to my mother and father last year, you changed, a different boy now. I said, but why? Why? You're just different. Yeah, but tell me why, am I different? You're just different, you're moody. I said, but why? I said, it's funny, whenever you see anybody else outside of here who knows me, my friends, people I've worked with, Andrew's funny, he's bubbly, but as soon as I come in here, I go quiet in my shell, I said, because I think my brothers are better than me. I think that, it was stupid, of course they love you, of course we love you. I said, I know that, but at the time I didn't think that. I said, nobody ever told me that. I know nobody's ever told me they love me and my family, or nobody ever told me they were proud of me that. I know we love each other. If I needed them now, they pick up the phone there tomorrow, but we never show each other or tell each other that sort of thing. So for years, I thought, I was just a hindrance to my family. I caused some stress, some trouble. My brothers are better than me. I stopped going to the rugby club as well. All my friends play rugby, Llantrysant. I stopped going to my club. I withdrew from my friends as well, my social circle. So I withdrew from my friends, withdrew from my family. I stopped going to family dinner or family tea. So I just went into my own little shells. I lost my identity. So grieving was a huge problem. It's not talked about. And I think people grieve at all stages of life. And it's something that should be talked about a lot more, I think.
We even grieve when we go through positive changes. So, if I get a new job and it's a wonderful promotion, then I grieve for the colleagues that I'm not working with anymore. Even the positive changes can create that sense of a grief cycle that we might go through.
Yeah, but as soon as you say grief, it's not a nice word to think about. As soon as you say it, people think death, dying.
They do.
And so as soon as you think it, so people don't get talked about, brushed under the carpet, so nobody elaborates or talks about it. Do you mean? So I think it should be explored a lot more, really.
Maybe we'll be the start of that revolution for people to actually start talking about grief a bit more. Yeah,
it's not a bad thing. As soon as you get used to grieving and used to grief and how to deal with it, cope mechanisms, it'll be a lot better, I think. If you've got, when you do unfortunately lose a job or lose a loved one, you can, it's upsetting, it's hard, it's not going to be easy, but at least you can be able to deal with it better than just like getting depressed, going in a circle, angry, bitter. You can process it better if you understood exactly what you're going through, your feelings and everything.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that experiences that we go through, grief that we go through, it can be so hard, can't it? But it ultimately leads us to get to places that we're at now are because of the things that we've gone through then. Sorry, it's my very long-winded way of making that point.
No, it's right. I say you grow when you're going through tough times. I think that's when you grow the most, you learn the most about yourself, about other people around you, people you think are going to stick by you forever. So they fall by the wayside. You find out who your real friends are, your family, and you find a lot about yourself as well. I mean, I've got stronger and better over the years by learning from my losses, learning from my failures in life, and that's how you grow, I suppose. Being comfortable all the time. It's
about teaching good resilience skills, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And about knowing that there's going to be things that we go through that are difficult, because regardless of what we do, there is always going to be something difficult that we have to go through.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what age it is either. It can be any age, can't it?
I'm breaking the stigma around this. Failure is a bad thing. No, failure is not a bad thing. No, failure is where you learn and grow stuff. I mean, people laugh if you lose things, and people laugh if you lose a match or lose something, or lose a fight, or lose what. You shouldn't like parents. You can't lose it. Failure is. It's not a bad thing. It's not always a bad thing. That's how you learn a lot. And you come back stronger the next time. Then, do you know what I mean? So. Don't be afraid to lose. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger said it to me years ago. Don't be afraid to fail. And that's right. For years, I was so scared of failing in my life, all my life growing up. Winning is everything. You are the best. You can't lose. Second place is nothing. And that old generation thing. When I lost a rugby match on a Sunday, for example, that wasn't a bad thing. It was going home and facing my brothers because I lost the game. That was the worst thing. So failure for me growing up was just non-existent. And the number of things I've lost out on in life and wouldn't try because I knew I wouldn't be good at it. There's things I wanted to do that I wouldn't do because I knew I wouldn't be good at it. I'd only ever do anything that I knew I was going to be good at or win. Like my son's sports day race, Father's Day race in his school sports day. I had this conversation with him this morning, and there was two boys in school with me. I knew they were faster than me. So every year, this Father's Day race, I go to watch him in his sports day race. He's 5 years of age. He'd run over to me. Oh, come on, Dad, run in the Father's Day race. Oh, no, I go in my suit sometimes, purposely, not to race, because I knew these boys would beat me in the race. And I'd say, I can't, I got a bad leg. He'd run off and cry then. He didn't care if I come first, last, second, whatever. His mother used to do it, and she was useless. She come last, she wasn't very good, but she'd do it, and that's all he was happy is she'd have a go at it. But every single year, I never once did the Father's Day race. I was so scared of losing. My son wouldn't have cared where I came. He was just happy his dad would have had a go. So growing up, and fear of failure is a massive problem. I think we need to get better at teaching kids. Failure's part of life. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just try and do better next time, or just give your best. Just try your best. You can't do more than your best.
Absolutely. And it comes down to conditioning again, doesn't it? We get conditioned to think a certain way, and that if we're going to do something, then we need to win at it. At the end of the day, it's the taking part that matters.
Yeah.
My family often joke to me, and they say that I'm quite competitive, but I don't care if I lose. Yeah. I'm like, well, if I'm going to do something, then I'm going to try my best. Yeah. But I don't care if I win or I lose, because at the end of the day, I've taken part.
That's the best way.
It's an ongoing joke in my family with that.
That's the best way to be, though. You try things. I want to do men's health on the bay. I wouldn't do that because I knew I'd be rubbish at it. I want to do CrossFit because I wasn't very good at it. So there's things in life I wish I could do, I wanted to do over the years, thinking, why can't I just do it? If I lost, I would learn to go better the next time, learn from my mistake, learn from failure, and got better and better and better. And eventually, when you do achieve something, you feel much better, satisfied, you've achieved something. You couldn't do it one day, next couple of months later, years later, you can achieve something. It's the whole growth thing, isn't it, I suppose? There's so many things I haven't done over the years, and give it your best shot, not going half-hearted. But if you lost, don't beat yourself about it. You're self-worthy, you're still a good person. Don't make you a bad person by losing.
No, absolutely. It doesn't take away from anything.
No.
And I think it's just the way that we think about things. And I think it's really important as well to ask ourselves and realistically now, what is the worst thing that is going to happen if I try? Because even if I don't quite get to where I want to go, then again, it comes back to that first attempt in learning.
Yeah, it's good. There's so much pressure on people these days, with social media as well, especially. There's so much pressure on youngsters growing up as well to look a certain way, to have a certain thing, material things in life and that. And I'm not one of these dinosaurs. It is a good thing, social media, as long as you take it with a pinch of salt. And teachers, people have got to speak to their kids and say, look, You look at it, I don't mind you looking at it. First of all, find out what they're looking at. I know some kids sit on these TikTok things and then my parents don't have a clue what they're looking at. Look at it, find out what they're looking at and say to them, look, that's not real. You're looking at 5% of the world's population on your feed, on your social media feed. People don't look like that every day. When I was growing up, I didn't know anybody had a Lamborghini. Nobody had a mansion with a helicopter on the roof or a swimming pool. Now, I think the whole world has got that. I think everybody's got a six-pack. All girls walk around with an hourglass figure and massive lips. It's not true, though, do you mean? Like, if girls think I got a bit of cellulite, that's not true. No, that is true. That's the problem. That everybody's got cellulite, women. On the magazines, like men got six-packs. That's not fitness. But the fitness world wants everybody to think that's fit. That's not fit. That's not healthy. I've done it before. I've done photo shoots. I starved myself for 17 weeks, dehydrated myself, covered myself in fake tan, oil. I was no energy, no sex drive, just to look good for a photo. But people look at that and think, oh, I love your body. You're amazing. Look how fit you are. I was that tired and fatigued. I couldn't walk up the stairs. I drink 8 litres of water a day for a couple of days, then not drink any water for days, so dehydrating myself completely. I'd be peeing all the time, because I wasn't drinking anything in my body. I was just dehydrating myself, so my skin would go really tight on my muscles and get vascular. That's not healthy. That can't be, that's not sustainable. But people think, kids are looking at that magazine or YouTube or whatever they're looking at, thinking, I want to look like that. I said, these people are walking on like that all the time. I said, I know a lot of professional people, fitness people. Normally they're normal people. They're in good shape. They're not like that all the time, I said. Then when they got a photo shoot or a competition, they 15, 16, 20 weeks, so they starve themselves, they train hard. And to get like that, I had to give up everything in life I enjoy, chocolate, drinking, going out, food, to look like that. It's not healthy, do you mean? And my son, he's got like body dysmorphia. He said to me today, he's somebody, he thinks he always wants to look better. He's got a good shape on him, he's good physique. I know people living in a 3-bedroom house, nice house, with like a Ford Focus. So I think they're failing because they haven't got a Porsche on the drive or a swimming pool. So nobody's got a Porsche or a swimming pool on their drive, do you know what I mean? And like, women are so pressure on women. They're an hourglass figure, certain cup size, certain lips, and you think everybody's got no cellulite. But I said, what people need to get better at, brands and like shops and things, put in real people on the front of their magazines, put in real people on their adverts on telly. That's real. People with scarring, for example, like I got. People got limb differences, or people, that's real. Not all these fake people you see all the time. And then people be looking at it thinking, oh, he's got scars, he's on the front of a GQ mag or whatever magazine he's on. She's got cellulite, she's got a bit of excess body, she's a size 16, 18, 20, whatever it is, that's real.
Variety, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Because in this world, it's complete variety.
Yeah.
And so we need to embrace it. The next question I want to ask you about, it would be really unfair of me to not ask you about your time on Traitors.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what that experience was like.
It was a really good experience. I wouldn't change it at all, to be honest. I was the only person on the show who experienced everything. I think I did both sides, traitor, faithful. I was in the dungeon. I did every mission. I did the end game. I did the fire pit. I did the ultimate mission at the end. I did everything. So I was the only player, even though like Harry didn't do everything. I did everything, so I wouldn't change it for the world. And I enjoyed it. And like going back to touching on like years ago, I probably would have been winning was everything. I wouldn't have been happy if I'd won it. But I got a lot of time to reflect when I was up in the castle, thinking, I'm proud of myself, proud of how far I've come at the moment. I'm just happy to be here. To get on the actual show is difficult, and I'm just happy I got as far as I have. And it's the first time in years I was actually proud of my achievements to get on there. I knew I'd come fourth, but at the end of the day, I enjoyed the whole experience, so I wouldn't change it. It was good, really good. I really enjoyed it.
And I'm just going to take you back now to a comment that you made earlier. So as a person with a masculine rugby background, let's put it that way, and a house full of brothers, we've talked a little bit about the stigma, how you felt about that, the things that don't get talked about, the way that you felt. But what was it that made you realise, like, so a couple of years ago when you said about your partner, what else would you say made you realise that talking about mental health is so important? Were there any other key changes that you found for yourself?
I look at myself, you're going to laugh now, I'm not bad looking, I think, personally. I'm okay, I'm quite fit, my body's okay, I had a nice house, I got health, my son is okay, I had a good family, a decent job, paying good money, a nice car. But I'd still be missing something in my life. I was thinking, what is missing in my life? I mean, most people out there would want what I got. Like, my missus was gorgeous. I had everything I wanted, but I was still like, it was like my purpose was missing. I still felt empty. I didn't have a goal and a purpose in life. So, so that was one thing. It was frustrating myself for years. It went on for years, like thinking, what am I missing? I get so frustrated with myself, beating myself up. I mean, obviously meeting my partner, seeing how positive she was, unhappy she was, meeting the doctor or the professor, that gave me another kick on the backside I needed really to say, yeah, come on, shape up, get out of it now and start looking forward in life and looking at the good things you can happen. You're still here. You didn't die. Yeah, you might have scarring, but Oh, so what? It don't matter. I'm still a nice person. I'm still a nice, genuine person. So I couldn't accept compliments for years and years and years. I used to say horrible things to myself in the mirror, call myself a freak every day. Because every day in the mirror, I look in the mirror every day, do my hair for work, for example. So I couldn't get away from my scars, the scar here and everything. I look at it, as soon as I focus in the mirror, as soon as I look at my scar, and other people I'd see in the street, oh, I didn't notice it. I think I just lying, just being polite. And I couldn't accept people say, you got nice eyes. I'd always follow up the negative all the time. I mean, people say, oh, you got nice eyes. Oh, you got nice teeth. Oh, just being polite, just being nice. I could never accept it. I just stop saying horrible things to myself and changing the way I think about things and just saying thanks. If somebody says something nice, just say thanks. Don't follow up the negative all the time. And yeah, so meeting her, just walking around, went on for 20 odd years. I mean, and I also did a lot of studying. I qualified as an NLP practitioner last year. I did a lot of reading, a lot of books about, grieving, lots of different subjects really to make myself better, to understand myself better. And one book I read, The Chimp Paradox, is a really powerful book. I loved it. It's amazing. It was so relatable. It's quite simply written as well. It's not a complicated book. I'm not an academic really, but the book is really good. And you can understand. It's quite easy to understand. It's written like every single person got a little chimp inside him. I reckon every single person should read this book. So the chimp acts on emotions and feelings, flies off the handle, whereas your human brain acts on logic and understanding. The chimp is much more powerful than the human brain. You just need to learn how to control your chimp, basically. So how to calm it back down and put it back in his box and as such. So for years, I let my chimp control my life, and I used to act on emotion. People say you wear heart in your sleeve. That's just an excuse, I think. So I used to be passionate, and I used to fly off the handle and never think about other people's feelings and emotions, and then I upset lots of people over the years, said things to people wish I could look back, I wish I could take it back. So it's like, I just wanted to change. Someone really wanted to change the way I was and just be a nicer person for myself and also for other people as well.
So any of the listeners that we've got today, if we were talking to them about self-worth, about the image that we have of self, and to give you an example, you wouldn't sit there now because you said, oh, I looked in the mirror, I used to think I was a freak and things like that. Yeah. I guarantee you wouldn't sit there and say to me, you look like a freak. So when it comes to the things that we say to ourselves, when it comes to our self-image, what would you say to other people to try and get them to stop saying such horrible things to themselves? Which I do it myself. I say awful things to myself. I would never say them to anyone else. So why do I think it's okay to say them to me?
It's just trying to stop yourself from saying it. It's hard, because especially if you've done it for so long, it's like a habit, and you think that's just a throwaway comment. But your body, your mind is still taking all that in, and your unconscious mind is being stored in your body somewhere. So like, even though you think, oh, you're thick as shit though, stupid, or say something like that, even though it's a throwaway comment, saying that daily, every day, 10 times a day, over and over again, or ugly, and you start to believe things after a while. It's true, you say it enough, you start to believe it, I suppose. So, even though just as soon as you think yourself saying it, just stop and just say nothing. I'd rather say nothing at all than say a stupid comment. And if I driving, I used to be terrible driving. I'd be a commentator when I was driving, like say stupid things. Oh, come on, get over. I think, why let other people's actions affect my mood? Do you know what I mean? I used to let other people cut me up the road, and they don't care. They drive off. I'm stressed out, they're angry and ranting, thinking, why am I letting that person control my life? Or why am I letting that person control my emotions? So when you're going to say something bad to yourself, just stop it. And I don't say follow it up with anything positive. In the future you can, but I say at the start, so what started off for me, when I knew I was going to say something, just don't say it. And just carry on with your day job. Don't say anything at all. Stop saying horrible things to yourself. And then when somebody says something nice, just say thank you. Don't follow up with a negative. I don't say, oh, you're just being nice. Or like I used to say, just say, oh, thanks. It sounds easy, but it's not. It took me years to do it. But once you start doing it, it does make a huge difference. I never used to be into all this gratification, all this sort of thing, talking to yourself. And I found it stupid before. But after a while, you do it. You do get used to it. It does help slightly after a while. You do tell yourself some things all the time. You start to believe it then. So little things in the morning. I used to overthink things all the time. I used to say the same things all the time. But like, oh, thank you for my breath. Thank you for my eyesight. Thank you for my hearing. I run out of things to say there. Thinking, I don't know what else to say now. It sounds crazy. But say it out loud. You have a good day today. Trying your best. You're doing all right. You're doing a good job. You're a good dad. You're doing okay. You're good at your job. You're a good boyfriend. Whatever it is. You're doing okay. Just be nice to yourself. And after a while, you start believing it then.
Because it becomes an internal truth. The more you say something, the more it becomes something that you believe. Yeah. And if you say it enough to yourself, then... Yeah. Because sometimes we have internalised truths that aren't true, and we need to question it and go, actually, I'm not right to think this.
I keep saying Brad Pitt every day, but that still hasn't come true yet. But or Gerard Butler, or so Gerard Butler every day. Come on, Gerard Butler. And it never comes true, but there we are.
It's better to be you.
Yes, I'm a unique individual.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We are coming to the end of our time now, and I'm really disappointed.
Sorry, I talked so much.
I really enjoyed this.
Sorry.
But no, it's absolutely fine. So, are there any other comments, any other things or points that you would like to make that you think that would be really great for people to know?
if you're struggling, just try and find a safe place or safe somebody and just talk. Just open up and talk. Talking doesn't make you less of a person, doesn't make you weak. Just bottling things up it's no good. Trauma, you have to deal with it, because one day it'll come back and bite you on the backside. It's inside you somewhere. Unless you deal with that trauma, it'll come back in 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years. It'll come back and it'll be somebody who'll cut you up on the road. Your partner might say something nasty to you or say something wrong, and you'll flip. And either you'll try and take your own life, or you'll beat somebody up, or you'll do something crazy that's totally out of character because it's a result of your trauma. So if you've got a trauma, just try and speak to somebody about it. Seeing a counsellor, seeing a psychologist. It's not a bad thing. I see a PT for my physical health. So why not see somebody for their mental health? There's no difference at all. Actually, your mind is probably stronger than your body. I think your mind is much stronger than your body. It's the strongest thing in your world. I can lift a lot of weight, but my mind is always much stronger. So I think you should look after your mental health and try and do something every day to help your mental health. That could be playing with your kids, a board game, reading a book, go for a walk, get out in nature, spend time with your family, whatever that is for you. Go to the gym. I know the gym's not for everyone, but that's for my thing. But like, it could be anything, go jigsaw, whatever you find relaxing, to switch off your brain from your computer, your mobile phone, whatever. Just do something for you and just forget about the world. Just do something for you, just for yourself. It's not selfish to say no to people. Even your partner, if you've got a girlfriend, husband, boyfriend, just taking time out to yourself and letting have your own space just to unwind, and you can just recharge your batteries. It's not a bad thing. I used to feel bad for saying no to people. I'd always be the yes person. I never like to say no to anybody. Oh yeah, I'll do that. And the only person ends up miserable is you. You're so busy, stressed, rushing around. Look and think that I haven't done nothing for myself today. I haven't missed the gym. I haven't done anything. I've helped everybody else. I've done nothing for myself. So if you don't, say no to people. If you don't feel up for it, or you don't feel you want to do something, you don't just say no. It's not a bad thing. If they can't accept that, well, that's their fault, isn't it, at the end of the day? And if you want to explain yourself, you haven't got to explain yourself. I can't do it because of this. That's up to you if you want to explain it. You haven't got to explain it. No is no at the end of the day. People will respect that. If you're tired and burnt out and exhausted, they understand. People understand. So just look after yourself and just be nice to yourself, I suppose, is a big important thing. And talk.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. It's been absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Just to mention now, next time we're going to be doing a session around happiness, and we've got Byron Hayward and John Williams, both big in the rugby world. So they'll be talking to you for the next session. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Case UK's podcast, Just In Case. Please make sure that you subscribe to this podcast in your preferred podcast app. That way you'll never miss a future episode. And be sure to follow us on social media. Check out our website, www.case-uk.co.uk. And don't forget, we're here for you just in case.
Blue sky, sweet and fresh.